This is the Supercoach NRL official podcast, round preview with Tom Sangster and Rob Sutherland. This is the Supercoach NRL official podcast, round. This is the Supercoach NRL official podcast, round preview with Tom Sangster and Rob Sutherland.
Hello, Supercoaches. Welcome to the preview podcast. It's round 12. We start with breaking news. Tolu Kula has been ruled out for the Sea Eagles. This means that Lehigh Hopewadi, the latest of the Hopewadis to come into the NRL, will debut. It also means Ruben Garrick potentially plays fullback. We're not sure about that yet, so a few levels here. Rob Sutherland's here. Kula's obviously a sell, and Garrick at fullback is good.
I don't know if I'd be selling Cooler until we really know how...
I mean, if you brought him in this week, you reverse that trade.
Reverse that trade. Yeah. I mean, unless you're super stubborn like Dave, and you just want to persist with holding on to your mistakes, then I think you would reverse that trade.
What mistakes?
I don't know. I was just riffing. Hopoate's an interesting one. We assumed that Garrick was going to move to fullback, but Hopoate's played the last 6 games in the New South Wales Cup at fullback. Killed it, 200 metres against the Dogs. Lots of tries, try assists. I think he had 7 tackle busts. Could be an interesting one.
I really would like to see Garrick at fullback, although it is a tough matchup for them up against the Storm. What's been happening, Dave? You got any shenanigans to fill us in on?
We like helping out fellow super coaches.
Yes.
Looking after people. We've got someone in our work league who haven't really touched their team since round 1. So we sat down with them this morning, helped them with their trades. Completely coincidental that they play you this week.
The
league in which you are 16th.
How am I 16th in this league? I've got almost the most points. Who is this? Who am I playing?
Dom.
Your boss.
Dom. Dom Burke.
We've helped him out. We got rid of Flegler.
Yeah.
We got rid of Ponga.
The team is much better than it was.
I still should just sneak home with a win, surely.
I don't know. The way your season's been going.
Stay tuned, people. We'll let you know.
The season has been going great, except for in that league, that's for sure. Send through your questions and comments. We apologise for the little stuff up at the start of the show. I see the first comment is, get off the phone, Tommy, and get the show started.
I like it. It gave a sense of verisimilitude to the podcast. I thought that was good.
What else have you got on there, Dave?
Ross Mann wants to know, Jack
Good
DeBellin,
bloke.
is he a good pod buy? Plays the buy?
I suppose.
Oh, tell us what you really think, Rob.
No, the thing with DeBellin is he's a bit like Ewan Aitken, isn't he? In that sort of he's a bit boring. He doesn't give you much really interesting. He's a worker. He's got dual position. That's all handy. But I want a bit more sizzle on my steak.
Fair enough. Garth is asking, should he save a trade, keep, I'm assuming this is Taylor and May, or trade him to Blaze Talangi, who he doesn't have yet?
I think May to Talangi is a really good trade. I've got Talangi already. I'm going to hold May just because I want to see Origin teams first and make that trade next week. But May to Talangi, I think you just lock it in.
And we know that May's kind of out indefinitely, so I think you definitely, at some point, you're getting rid of him.
And he's out indefinitely. He's almost certainly out for the bye. I mean, I can't see. It would take a really significant change in current standings for Penrith to pick him next week. And that's the only reason you would be holding him, because his form's been pretty poor. So, yeah, it's a sell.
Look, I've just looked out the studio and it has reminded me, Dave Riccio's there. He's making calls about Lachlan Galvin, could be in doubt, and Adam Fanor-Blake. We're chasing up that too with is it a leg injury?
I think the rumour is ribs, but
okay.
We're following that up. And Galvin apparently his hand. Word is that Coruscant was training at 6 and Jock Madden was at 9. It was a weird team where they had Coruscant in and Madden on the bench anyway. So, maybe there's more to that. As soon as we know, you'll know.
Yep. You'll know. I can see them on the phone right now, just outside the studio, chasing those stories. Code is only $59 up front for 12 months. You get Supercoach Plus, which has its own inbuilt buy planner. You get all the articles, and after that, $7.99 a month. So good deal running for Code right now. Huge game tonight. Bulldogs v the Dragons, two very evenly matched teams going head to head. Yeah, like 12th v 13th or something.
I don't know if I'd call it a huge game either, just quietly.
It's massive because I'm going to be there and I'm pretty pumped to get out of the house, that's for sure.
VIP box?
I'm not sure. I actually don't even know where we're sitting.
He doesn't even know where he is in the ground.
Someone buys it for
someone will walk in there, park his car.
I'm told they're good seats. That's all I know. That's all I know. Late mail is interesting though because Kurt Mann out. Josh Curran to lock. So good news for Curran.
Yeah, I mean, he's not been great the last couple of weeks, so anything that gets him extra minutes to beef up that score is good. A lot of people have him, especially with the buys coming up.
I mean, the move to lock is good. The look at the interchange bench, it's weird. You've got Moran there, who's a sort of undersized 13. Preston, who's an edge, who's going to play in the middle. Hayward, who's a large fullback. And Turpin, who's a hooker, who dabbles in the middle when Reid Marnie's a hooker that plays 80 minutes. It's you look at that bench and you think Max King's going to play big minutes. Curran is going to play big minutes. Salmon, who's picked on an edge, is probably going to spend a fair bit of time in 13. I say this about all of them because they're all in my team. So, I'm manifesting it. I'm speaking it into existence, but I also kind of believe it too.
I was a little bit frustrated with Curran because his minutes had been down, as you said, but I knew that I needed to hold anyway because he covers these first two big buys. But it's good news that he's starting, hopefully more minutes tonight. He's locked into my 17 for this week, and I will be holding him until that second big buy, and then we'll see what happens. Dragons, Matt Burton, is he still a buy? If he makes Origin, he misses 5 of 8 games. He's got the worst schedule. Is it 4? It might be 4 actually.
I think it's 4. I think the very
he's got
worst
one
is
of the
Dolphins, but it's
he's got one of the worst schedules in the competition if he makes Origin. But if he misses Origin selection, he has an incredibly good schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been staying away from guys like this just because I want to see. But I know, like Rob, you went early on Burton yourself, and I mean his scores justify it to a degree, but I don't want the headache of trying to figure that out if he does get named.
Oh, look, no. One game and then a maybe is not enough. 2 games was. Is that scientific? No. That's the Rob system.
On to the Dragons. They are 1-17 as it currently stands. Not a great deal of Supercoach action. I know they should be a pretty popular Supercoach team because of their bye schedule. There's only one guy who really stands out, and that is Zach Lomax. Would you be getting on?
No, I mean, I don't like touching the Dragons at the moment. Basically, if you had him at the start of the season, because his price has gone up a fair whack as well, you're definitely paying overs for him.
Yeah, plus he's got to be. He's at least in the Origin conversation, and from what I've read, a couple of things, I think a fair chance of selection. So no, I couldn't be buying him this week.
It's time for this week's Best Bets, brought to you by the Tabs NRL Same Game Multi. Build smarter Same Game Multis using stats and insights. Download the Tab app today. Now, I'm at the game tonight, so I'm going to back this game. Dragons to win into Zach Lomax to score a try as paying $3.60. What have you got?
$3.60? What's the point?
Mate, I like actually something that will win.
Did you collect last week?
No, I didn't.
No,
because
you didn't.
Because the Broncos won by 1 point.
Mine didn't get up either, so we both lost the same amount of money, and I had the potential for more fun, especially when Hudson Young crossed. I was like, oh, this is on. So, same game.
Is yours at paying $46 this week?
It is not. I've been quite sensible here, Thomas. Well, to a degree. I've got Matt Burton and Viliami Kikau to score tries. Burton scored one, almost scored another two. Kikau, I thought was held last week, and I think he's got to come back and play a bit better this week. Then there's a crazy bit, or slightly odd bit. I've done Bulldogs race to 10. I have no idea what that means. I genuinely don't know. I assume it means first team to 10 points, but I couldn't tell you. So I thought it'd be fun, right? The other two score, and then you sit there going, have I won? Haven't I won? I mean, it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? Like, as long as you don't go and take your ticket up to the window, you're a winner. That pays 17 to 1. Good luck.
17 to 1. And Dave, what have you got?
Got in the same game. I've got Burton to score a try. I think he looked really good last week. But I don't think the Dragons will be the pushover against the Bulldogs. So I've got the Dragons to upset the Dogs and win. That's paying $11.
Nice. And of course, the only place to place those bets is on the Tab app. What is gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on screen or visit the website gamblinghelponline.org.au. Cheapie Bible. Now, there aren't many genuine cheapies this week, so I've got a list of moneymakers here with Blaze Talangi, top of the list. Buy schedule's pretty good. He does have Gutho coming back. I can see him staying in the 17 somewhere, even when Gutherson is back into that team. So, look, I think Blaze Talangi is a must. I got on a number of weeks ago and I'm really happy. I still think that you get on this week.
Yeah, I think he's looked really good. The buy coverage is there. He's just a good lock in that position to get you some decent points in the initial. And I mean, there's still all those rumours around, right, that will Gutherson actually play fullback with his knees being a little bit shot and all that kind of thing. So we don't know what that'll actually look like yet. But he's not a bad option. Well,
Brad Arthur did personally single out Clint Gutherson in one of his interviews after getting sacked, saying a massive thank you to Gutherson just for putting his body through what he's put through, just to get out on the field every week. So that could mean that Blaze Talangi continues at fullback even when Gutho's back.
Only need 2 weeks to make 140k. That's worth doing. Plus, Talangi's, he's a guy with the player option, so Parramatta want to keep him sweet. I think he'd be happier playing at fullback.
Farlongo, I think, is a good purchase too. The issue with him is that he doesn't play round 13, which is the big buy coming up. I've owned him for a couple of weeks. I'm pretty happy, but I have Talangi just ahead.
Yeah, if I didn't own either of them, I'd have Talangi ahead as well. I already have Talangi. I am bringing Farlongo in this week. I just didn't like... I was looking at round 13. I wasn't happy with kind of the options I had available to me, so picked him up looking ahead because Melbourne's buy schedule isn't too bad going forward, but it's just round 13 that they don't play.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the one trade I'm making this week. I'll bring Fa'alongo in for Burbo. Neither help you in 13. Fa'alongo plays 14 and a couple of 60s should get him to 120k.
Yep. And of course they do have Ryan Pappenhausen back into that team relatively soon, but he should make...
Potentially, maybe.
With a refracture of the leg that he's fractured before and he's got a plate in there. It sounds a little bit complicated.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, are you going to rush him back when you've already lost Munster? So the spine, you're going to lose Harry Grant's Origin. Hughes has just come back. I would have thought maybe, if the team's winning or going close to winning every game, then maybe they go cautious on Pappenhausen. But again, manifesting more than anything.
Kaio Weeks. He is very popular this week and he has been really good in that halfback spot since Jamal Fogarty went down. Just the positioning I can't fit him in, but he's a decent purchase.
He's all right. Ricky just makes me nervous. It's just one big loss and you don't know how he's going to shred that team. I mean, he's been scoring okay, he's been making money. I can see it. I can't do it personally, but I worry about Ricky.
Positions are awkward, but if you were super aggressive and had lots of trades, you could be doing a Galvin to Weeks if Galvin's out this week as just a straight up cash grab.
Yep, that's not a bad shout. Tyron Wishart is a guy who's standing out for me a bit, and you've got some strong opinions on Wishart. Was it you who was talking about him?
It was me. I was talking.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him because he's a half who does a lot of work, so he's got a decent base. I like him as well because he's got decent job security because Munster's out, and I prefer him at 6. And then in Origin, Hughes will still be there. It's not like he's an inexperienced 6 who loses his halfback or anything like that. He keeps having the role that he was doing. That said, he's not a big money maker, and if I'm going to bring in one of these mids, I'm going to chase the money.
Yep, some questions coming through. We've got Adam Sargent is asking any truth of the rumours of AFB being out this week. As I mentioned just before, we're chasing that story, so we'll have it to you as soon as we find out. Boys, Munster to Weeks. I think that is a pretty good purchase. Although I'd probably be going Munster to Dylan Brown, to be honest.
I think it depends who your other like your bench is, because if you're then ending up with 2 kind of fringe players in that position, you might be a little bit nervous, but it would certainly free up a lot of cash for you to beef elsewhere in your team if you needed to.
That can be the problem. You're right. If you've got a Weeks Galvin combination, right, at 5'8", it's very like they're on a 400, 500. I think Galvin and Weeks on his way to 4. It's quite a jump to get up to the elite 5'8s when you do want to upgrade. So that's just one thing to keep in mind.
Jamie is asking, hey, Sangster and Sutherland, no mention of you.
It's fine.
I'm ranked 2,261 with 28 trades, which is a pretty good spot, and 3 boosts. Is Joey Manu a must for the Origin period? I think he is. I'm going to be getting him in.
How do you have that many trades left and that many boosts? Oh my God.
Oh, I'm just jealous. Well done.
And final question for now, we'll get to some later. Dan is asking, Latrell Mitchell as a pod withdrawn, and the question is, has he withdrawn from Origin selection? He hasn't. He's sort of made it clear that he doesn't want to play, but the rules are that he has to make himself available.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? He has to make himself available, but Jack Whiten's allowed to make himself unavailable.
But he's retired, so Jack Whiten has retired. So
from representative football.
Yeah.
But until maybe he isn't, because he was retired from representative football, and people are pushing hard for him to play, and he had to come and clarify that he wasn't. So Latrell could say he's retired from representative football, and then unretire from representative football when it suits him.
Yeah,
clear as mud. Yes, I think he's certainly worth a look. He's fired up. He's been scoring well, even though his team's been playing bad. I don't mind it as a pod.
Let's chat buys. So, as in the BYES. The buy period coming up, the Origin period. Dylan Edwards, I still think he's an amazing buy. My nephew Max, shout out to him. He tipped me into him. I was umming and ahhing with Origin selection hanging over his head.
He's taking tips from how old's Max?
Mate, he's 4. He's just turned 14 the other day. Happy birthday, Max.
Say 4.
No, he's definitely not 4. No, he's been talking up Dylan Edwards for so long, and I finally listened to him and got him in. So I said that I'd thank him on the podcast. I think even if he makes Origin, he's still got the best buy schedule of any Origin player. I don't see why you wouldn't get him in. He is not in the top 10 most purchased players this week, which I think makes no sense.
Look, he's undeniably been the standout, and I'm just staying away. I may well get him next week once I see what the Origin teams look like. But I don't know if I'd buy him now with there being, one more week, and then he could potentially just be out. But he's the standout player.
He is. It's one of my faults. Every year I go badly, I wait on this guy who's having a unicorn season, and they almost invariably keep going on to...
And that's Edwards this year, right? He's the guy that you're like, it can't continue,
but it does.
And then it just keeps going.
But I will be waiting weeks. I got Reece Walsh, and I'll be getting rid of Walsh next week when he goes to Origin, and it'll either be Teddy or Eddie.
Yep, good call. I'll be selling Walsh as well, but 2 guys who I want to see whether you'll be holding or not, Nico Hines and Val Holmes. Both those guys seem like holds to me, but we'll see what happens on Sunday and Monday with the Origin selections. Ideally, they're both holds.
I'm holding Nico. His price is massive. I just think if you get rid of him now, you're going to struggle to get him back in because the money you'll need to find elsewhere in your team to do that is going to be tough. He's, what is he, $1 million plus at the moment? I just think he will be extreme. You'll have to tear your team apart to get him back in if you remove him now.
Ditto on Nico. Yeah. And for Holmes, I had a look the other day. He's still averaging 75. I know he had a hot start to the season, and that's why. But I'm not selling any centre wing that's averaging 75. I know he probably goes to Origin and therefore misses some games. But as I said, I think on Tuesday, I like a guy who's out of form going to Origin because often they come back in form.
Yep. And he's kicking goals, got a great base in a good attacking team. I just don't see why you wouldn't hold Valentine Holmes. Guilty pleasure time. This is the player you shouldn't pick, but you can't help yourself. What have you got for us, Dave?
I've got Scott Drinkwater.
Yes.
I'm buying him this week. I've been not touching Cowboys for weeks because they haven't looked interested. They haven't necessarily looked good. But Drinkwater against that Tigers backline this week. I don't think he can be ignored.
That's such a humble brag. I'm picking a guy who's in great form at a good position against a bad team. Oh, I'm finding that one hard.
What's your guilty pleasure, Tom?
What is Dylan Edwards?
Yeah.
Again, I cannot understand how he's not...
to that. Well done, yeah.
I cannot understand how he's not one of the most popular players this week. Even if he makes Origin, it doesn't really matter. Just get him in.
My guilty pleasure is picking the guy with the most points of any player in Supercoach. How can I do it to myself?
What's your guilty pleasure?
Yeah, come on, I'm coming to the party.
In ironic voices.
Jamin Salmon, baby. Now that is a guilty pleasure. The positional change we talked about with the Dogs earlier on. My second row outside of Crichton and KPP, who's out, and Eli Katoa is a bit of a mess. So I had to pick one of Salmon or Plath. I'm picking Salmon, and I'm saying he scores a try. In fact, I'm going to go back to my bet, add Jamin Salmon, and it should be worth $1 billion to 1.
Right, no-go zone. This is the players. It's a popular player that you think makes no sense. For me, it's Karapani from the Broncos. I know he's been named in that at centre in that team at the Broncos with Tony Staggs out. He was there with Reece Walsh out last week as well. But he's got the bye next round. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on for round 14. But Staggs is only going to miss 2 games, so I don't see you making much cash on this one. Definitely wait. Don't go this week. Have a look in 14 if you go there at all.
I've got my no-go is Dave Armstrong. There's still a lot of people buying him this week, and the Knights are...
He's on the bye this week.
He's on the bye.
Yeah.
So, he's still got a negative break-even of about 54. I'm not saying don't buy him, but surely you want to buy someone this week who's going to contribute decently to your team. You can look at him next week. Surely there's more pressing issues this week that teams need to deal with than getting someone in who's not even going to play.
I understand that you've only included this segment so that you can shame me, but that's fine. Having said Tabuai Fido last week, and he scored, checks notes, 94, I'm going to double down and say all those people buying Tabuai Fido this week are fools. He'll only score another 94, but his BE's 104, and then he goes and plays Origin and becomes unavailable.
Yeah. And he'll miss 5 rounds over Origin, which is the worst possible schedule for an Origin player. On to captaincies. Nicho Hynes, still very popular, even though it's a pretty tough matchup against the Panthers, but it is at Shark Park where he's got an incredible record.
Captains are interesting. A lot of the guys who are the easy picks because they're guns, they play really early this week, so it kind of takes the VC loophole out unless you're really having a punt. I'm going Scott Drinkwater myself. I'm not doing a VC this week. It's just I'm straight all in on him. And what are they? The second match of the round, I think.
Yep.
So I think that's what it is this week. A lot of really good captain options are super early.
VC for me is on Burton. The Dogs will probably put 40 on the Dragons this week, and I think he'll get a Sam Walker-esque Anzac Day score out of it. Just wanted to bring that up to remind you guys. And yeah, Drinky, captain against a decimated or worse than decimated Tigers. yeah, he should score right.
I don't own him, but it's going to be a tough watch, that game, certainly, because I think Drinkwater will go nuts. It's also in Townsville too, so it should be quite quick
It'll be warm,
fast.
it'll be balmy. Yeah. The Tigers will be sweaty. Yeah, it'll be good.
I'm going Dylan Edwards. If you buy Dylan Edwards, just captain him every week. It is a pretty tough matchup against the Sharks at Shark Park, but I'm still just going to go with it anyway. David Fafita, you captained last week. Any love for him this round? He's at 6.6%.
Oh yeah, like he's a very safe captain. Like he'll get the job done for you. But like for me this week, the ceiling that Drinkwater offers, I think, is what I'm going for this week. But Fafita is you know, he's been scoring tries. He didn't last week, but he's still got 90 points without a try last week.
His involvement is the thing that's so good. He's getting after it.
Yeah.
We'll take questions till the end of the show, or sledges, as there seems to be quite a lot in here.
Is it all about Dave? I hope so.
Well,
Rob looks like he's been fake tanning again.
I do absolutely nothing other than go and visit Man-Made at Surrey Hills and Sam, thank you boys, to get my hair cut. But that is the amount of grooming that I do.
Zach saying, how many trades should you have left at this stage of the season? What's a good number?
More than me?
Number would be 25.
25 and above.
I've got 22.
If you're an overall player, if you're a head-to-head player, it'd be great to have 30.
If you've max traded, you're probably sitting on about 20 after this week, or just 9 or
20 or 19.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
So anything above that is good.
Captain Garrick at fullback, that's coming from Kyle. It's against the Storm. I know it's at Four Pines Park, but I wouldn't. A VC, definitely a VC, because they play relatively early.
I don't like Seagulls against Storm, and I know Edwards is great, but I don't like any Sharks player or Penrith player. I think those are tough games this week. So, yeah.
Good question for you, Tommy. Do we get extra trades during the bye period?
Well, you do, yes. So you've still got your total of 46, but on the big buys, which are 13, 16, 19, you get 3 trades instead of 2, and if you boost, you get 4 trades in those weeks.
Well, you have 3 trades available.
Available.
Yeah.
You don't have to use them all, but a lot of people will.
Just scrolling.
Impolite.
Lots of banter. Can't mention live on air. Can't mention live on air. Which trade option is better? Walker and Lomax, or Madden and Manu?
Sheesh.
Walker and Lomax.
I think Walker and Lomax. You get 2 goal kickers, right? Yeah.
Yep. Scrolling.
Then DCE will get hurt. Walker will
Scrolling.
get called into the Queensland squad.
Yeah.
Pretty much guaranteed to happen.
Lots of people asking about Adam Fanua-Blake.
Maybe we should go and chase it up.
It's important. I mean, the issue there is the Warriors play in the last match of the round, and a lot of people who have...
It's in New Zealand as well, isn't it?
Not sure.
I got a funny feeling it is. So you're not even going to get the "they didn't fly" trick.
Yeah,
so,
but the other thing there is a lot of people have your Currans and your Sam Hugheses, and they play tonight. So you really want to make an early call. So any news will be golden today if there's anything that can firm up.
It's the second last game, right? Because the Dolphins is the last game. Was that Dolphins Warriors? No, it is. It is in New Zealand then. Yeah, Warriors are at home.
Yeah. Right, well, we'll be chasing that, so have a look for late mail on our site. Big thanks to Rob, big thanks to Dave Campbell. We'll catch you next week for the Teams podcast. See you then.